Sam. It's so good to sit down and talk to you today. I'm really excited to talk about marketing with you and also navigating being part of a one-person team in a small school. I've known you for years. You're an amazing marketer. I'd love for you to tell people, what is it like being a one-person team and what skills and systems have you used to navigate this?
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about it because I think most of us in this role are just really trying to serve the mission of their school and support leadership and students and families and the teachers who are doing the on the ground work. So I feel very privileged to be sitting in this spot. Obviously, for those of us that are a single person in the MarCom office, it's a lot of work, right? For me, I think anytime I walk into a school, I look at the people in the room, start to learn a little bit about how they like to work, what sort of systems are in place. Sometimes it's as simple as what email system, what calendaring system, and adapting my work style to align with their processes because it's an exchange, right? You need the content and the information and what's happening in the classrooms and the building, but you also have some really hard deadlines and you can't always generate the content yourself. So first, kind of getting a lay of the land and understanding who you're working with and how they like to operate. And then two, figuring out how to balance strategy and storytelling and then maintenance, like how you get 100 emails a day. How long can you sit at your desk and answer those emails, but also get to that class to take pictures at science and also write the weekly newsletter and connect with development about the long-term fund appeal that's going out, those sorts of things. So getting good at calendaring, getting good at project management software or systems, and just figuring out what works best in the moment for the people you're working with.
That's so important. What you said about calendaring is key because, as we know, in independent schools, especially when you're working in a small school and you're a team of one, right? You're wearing many hats. You have to be in 50,000 places, and every week, every day is not the same. So, your calendar is a great way to schedule and outline those things. And I appreciated what you said about getting to know your team. If your team is not a, for example, project management person, or they don't like using one system, and like trying to force them into another as opposed to figuring out what's the common system we can all use. How can I work with what we all can use? That is such an important tip for school leaders to know. So thank you. I'm curious, you mentioned you were in a small school. Like, what are the challenges to working in a small school?
I think for me, I'm a solutionist, I'm a problem solver, and I can do a lot of different things because the job requires it. So, technical things, creative things, right? And I know a lot of marketers are in the same boat. Like, they can write a beautiful storytelling piece about a family. At the same time, they can also shift a PDF into a Microsoft Word document, into a mail merge for Excel, right? We need to have all those skills. And so for me, the thing that I struggle with is when to listen and when to problem solve. And in the past year, I've worked really hard to not be the first one to offer to solve the problem. I've tried to restructure, for instance, if we're doing an event and the person running the event really wants to do this creative ask for engagement and interaction, I would, instead of offering to be the one to take that on, if it's not skill set or job role specific to the work that I do on a day-to-day basis, I might offer them 3 options for how to easily integrate it into our systems and communications and processes, but they become the architect of that project. And so I think that's one of the things that's really hard in a small school is just because you can do it does not necessarily mean you should. It also means you necessarily have to. So working with in this case for me, it's my head of school to make sure that I know what the organizational priorities are. In a small school as a marketing and comms person, sometimes you are the human being who knows every piece that's going on in any given day, week, month, semester. And so sometimes you're the one prioritizing on behalf of the school. And that's a lot of power. And sometimes it can be overwhelming. And you always feel like maybe you're disappointing somebody, right? Because everybody's priority is really important to them. And so as the person that filters information and asks and stories to the outside world, I think it's really important to work with your leadership team to make sure that you have the structure of what are the organizational priorities so that when somebody comes to you at the last minute, you can put it through that decision matrix and know that you're supported by your head of school, your leadership, and also you're still serving the mission.
That's amazing. I think it's so interesting when I talk to amazing talented school marketers like yourself, right? If you're capable and like creative, guess what? Like people keep coming to you to help and to do things. And it's amazing the amount of work that gets piled on your plate. So using the system that you just mentioned, which is really understanding like, using direction from your head of school, like what are the priorities? What's the school's priorities? What is a lens I need to view incoming projects through? And then also teaching others, giving them the guide and the ownership of projects instead of taking everything on yourself and creating that overwhelming full plate. I think a lot of school leaders can benefit from that. I'm curious, shifting gears, Sam, I admire you because you're usually so invested in like professional development. You're not only in our industry and independent schools, you're looking outside independent schools, like what's happening in marketing now? What are the trends this year? I'm curious, like, if you could reflect on school marketing and what's going on now, what would you say is a hot topic or something you hear school marketers talking about, or maybe they should be thinking about right now?
So let's be honest, there's a lot going on. And people, especially parents, right? Because our main audience is parents, whether they're prospective parents, current parents, former parents, are inundated with information. So I'm a parent, I'm inundated with information, right? Like I have my job calendar, I have my personal calendar, and then I have my child's calendar. And trying to make all those things work is very difficult and keep it all straight. There's a ton of messaging. So I think one of the most important things for school marketing and communications is to really slim it down. Make sure there is a purpose to every message you are sending or crafting. Why do we need to send this? What is the action that we want out of it? Are we trying to educate somebody? Are we trying to create some sort of feeling of goodwill? Do we want an action to come out of this message or social media post or what it is? And then looking at all of the platforms and identifying what generates the most traction. How many times does it take to communicate about a school event to when somebody actually confirms via RSVP? So looking at your data, identifying what works, and then slimming it down and making sure what you're sending is actually purposeful and generating the action that you need it to for whatever the purpose is at that thing. And then I think all of us as humans, because that's who you're working with as a school marketer. These are people and kids and families and are looking for genuine, authentic community connection. In my school and in my space, I am really focusing on events and activities and communications and marketing initiatives that reflect who we are and going back to connecting, engaging with people on a personal level. So that means picking up the phone, sending a note in the mail, writing a thank you note instead of sending a thank you email, finding those ways to connect with people and be grateful for their engagement in your community and their connection with you and their place in your school. And yeah, just finding ways to bring back the human element to the work that we're doing.
That's so beautiful and so true. Not only is it making sure that they're not getting more overwhelmed on the channels that you're using, but also that personalized touch. So key. Thank you, Sam, so much for this conversation today. Is there anything else you'd like to tell school leaders or a final thought you'd like to leave them with?
I think that one of the most important things that we do for our schools is balance like strategy and the emotional feeling behind events and activities and purpose and messaging. And you can be the voice of reason and you can also be the creative force in the room. And so I would just encourage everybody. And I'm always telling people in our roles that sometimes good enough is good enough. And you can't be the only problem solver at the table. And it's really important to just keep your list of what you have to do right now, what you would like to do in the next few weeks, and then what is a really great idea that you're just going to save for next year.
Wise words.
Yeah.
I love them. Thanks again, Sam. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.